All right. Sales samurai, regular dude. We want to talk about how do we close?
Yes.
What do we say? Are there certain things that we can say that make it better? What are your thoughts?
For sure. So first things first, you mentioned and brought up the concept of like, you can't push someone or force someone to close. I think that's the first concept here is we're not going to convince anyone to do anything that they don't want to do. So I think there's a lot of old...
Did you hear that, Jordan Belfort?
Jordan Belfort, okay, you can do it, but no one's going to be successful. Like, in the end, like, no one's going to be happy. He went to jail. Yeah. You could just have a really bad program and then someone who doesn't like your brand and they're not a good client.
Yeah.
Like, no one in the end is happy whether you end up in jail or you just end up with a program that's not right for you. And so a lot of those like old sales techniques of if I get you a contract today, can you sign by next week? Like they feel inorganic because they are. They're not the right approach, and they're not the approach I take. I try to make sure that they are as serviced as possible to not need any other like things to do before closing. So there are two things that I always do. One is continually validate and make sure that they're the right opportunity to pursue, because I only have 24 hours in a day, just like you. So I have to make sure that I'm chasing my best bets. And that can be asking for a verbal, asking like, would I be your preferred partner? Are you still considering other partners? Like, that's fine to ask. That's still organic. It doesn't feel cagey. So continually asking for that, understanding what their timeline is and what their next steps are. I have this beauty of with email programs, they always have an email program in place. So they have an existing contract that is an end date. And so that's really nice because I can say, let's talk about your migration plan. Let's talk about how long that might take and work from there. I always create a close plan. So I say, these are the steps that you should take. 9 times out of 10, they don't read my close plan, but that's okay because it helps me be organized and make sure they have what they need. So again, it's bringing the organization to the table, knowing what their timeline is, and then just trying to help them support their timeline. But you're not asking you're not trying to manipulate them at this point, actually. You're not asking questions to manipulate, because if they're going to buy from you, they're going to buy from you, and they're going to buy from you because you're a person.
Yep. I found that it's super helpful to give people options too.
Yes, options are great.
Yeah, because if you do begin to feel like a closer if you go, here's your option. This is your choice. Mm-hmm. And people kind of like, they start to feel scared. They feel worried, and you can pressure sales for sure, but you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a bad experience. You're going to get a lot of bad ratings. People don't like your product. They won't ever use your product, and they'll just have like a bad taste in their mouth. I'd rather not close anyone and then have one connection with one person who will become a raving fan. Mm-hmm. Right? That's better than having 15 commission checks.
So much better.
And all of them are upset at you. So
it gives me anxiety.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my goodness.
So give people options.
Yeah.
Give people choices. Have them, create. We can do it this way. We can do it this way. We could do it this way, or we could do it no way. It's all right either way. All 4 of these are absolutely valid choice for you. Mm-hmm. Which one looks the best? Let's talk about your options. Let's talk about both avenues, multiple avenues, and let's talk about what happens if you choose each route.
Yeah. It's always fine to ask questions for more information. Like, when you're to the right point, you can say, who's going to sign this document? Are there any more steps that we need to take in order for them to feel comfortable with that signature? It's always okay to get those details, and it helps you validate and make sure you're in good shape. But if you ask that too soon, or if you ask for, the question I hate is, have I done enough to earn your business? It's like, no, you definitely haven't if you're asking that question.
Yeah. That's a bad one.
No, but it's a question that's like recommended to ask, and it like gives me anxiety. So it's about being a person first, just trying to outservice them and like make the easiest buying experience possible. Still really likely that you get to the end, you've worked on this for 9 months, they kind of like you, and they're going to go with someone else. That's a likely outcome. But you're looking for the 50% chance, or hopefully 70% chance that they go with you instead, and you're betting on that. But you can't force anyone into a deal.
Really good point that you just brought up. You were talking about them liking you. But that might not be the reason they buy. They could love you as a person, think you're amazing, but their resources, their budget, the people that they're working with, they want to go a different route because of the systems, the technologies, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? If you're in sales, our opportunities are endless, but we want to make sure that we outline all possibilities. We give a best connection possible. We become a real human to them. And if they don't go with us, you can still, do you ever follow up with them afterwards? You send them a note, they never do business with you. Do you contact them again in the future? What does that look like?
Yeah, for sure. I got this feedback lately, and it was the culture fit. We think your team would be so wonderful to work with, but we think your product is 2 years behind the competitor that we're going with. That team, like that prospect, had worked with that competitive product 3 times before and implemented it in their last 3 companies. And so I knew that was very, very likely. It was a very long shot to think that our culture, our presentations could be so well perfected that they said, yeah, let's bet on Lindsey and her team. But we went for it anyways. We didn't win it, but of course I will be following up because they think we're 2 years away. So then you show the innovation in what we're doing, because we're doing some really cool things right now with some clients. So following up saying, hey, check out this new program that a very cool coffee chain is currently working on with us, kind of thing. So it's showing them that, yeah, you do kind of need to work with us to bring out this innovation in your team, because they're going to essentially, at the end of the day, probably just have a very similar email program than what they had today, just on a different platform. We can show them that we still want to be their partner and we'll continually invest. So always follow up, but always follow up with your past clients as well. Just become friends, build relationships with them too.
What stresses out a lot of salespeople is the time commitment to all this.
Yeah.
Because when you mentioned following up with everyone, I'm getting stressed out over here. Yeah. How do you follow up with all the past ones, all the future ones, all the ones that said no?
Yeah. I don't follow up with all of them. That's number one. And it's also like, you don't have to be emailing them every 2 weeks, every month. Like, I'm a little bit untraditional in my sales process as well, because I don't send a weekly like, hey, just checking in, how are you doing? I think that is so inappropriate. It's inbox clutter unless you can email with value. Or it's been, 3 weeks and they were supposed to get back to you in a week, then you can email them. But like, that's one thing I cut out, is I don't do that like very aggressive, let me email you every 2 days and see what you're doing. But what I do is I have really great relationships with past clients. So that's the first thing I nurture. And then I really just like following up with people and getting to know them. So it can be a phone call, but it can honestly be a once or twice a year thing. Maybe once every 2 years. Especially in my industry, things don't move quickly. So it's just staying in touch, remembering their birthday, which we've talked a lot about this last couple of days. And even celebrating when they do launch the new program, saying, hey, I love what this turned out to be. I'm so excited that your vision has come to life. That can be a really good one too. Celebrate as soon as you see that new program, sign up for it, congratulate them, because you wanted them to launch that anyway. So you should be excited about that for them.
Sign up for their program. That can be a big one.
Yeah.
That can be a big one, because I would say out of the amount of people who have pitched me anything, if anyone had signed up for my program and went through it and then pitched me, the chances are like 90%. They're 90% that I'm working with you.
Yes.
So the other thing too is consider maybe buying the person's product that you're pitching. Right? Maybe try it out. Yeah. Spend some of your money on it to see if it is really good, and see if maybe you don't need to make any kind of offer. Maybe they're phenomenal. Maybe they're doing great. Or maybe you do have something you can offer, some actual service, some value.
Sometimes I do that in a really obtuse way, like in a really like forward way.
How so?
So I had a proposal question. It was for like a CPG, so a consumer packaged good food brand that I grew up eating. Okay. And so it was a request for proposal. They said, how can our program be improved? And I 100% said, like, your brand has been at our dinner table my entire life. Like, that was my opening line to that question. they liked it. They went for it. I was like, this is a risk. This is very aggressive, and I got a verbal for them last week, so they picked it up and liked the desire to work with them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Now, do you find those clients yourself, or those potential clients, prospects, or do other people find them?
Not all of them. I might bring in like 10 to 20% of my opportunities, but a lot of my deals come from either a team kind of doing the cold outreach. I do some cold outreach, but it's just not my skill set. I am good at the marathon, not the like very operational requiring work. So the marketing team provides leads, and then client referrals, past clients, that kind of thing. So I fortunately don't have to do a lot of the lead finding work because I'm not good at it. But in some cases, like I will get a referral, or I will get a past client saying, hey, I want to work with you again. And those are the leads I can bring in most.
Sure. Got it. When you find your leads, how do you do it? Are you Googling them? Are you you see a brand and you're like, let me reach out to them?
Yeah. So when I do find my leads, it's typically like, I see job descriptions actually. So I see someone is hiring for a loyalty marketing manager, or just they're in their job descriptions, which I read a ton of them each week. I'll say like, they're about to do an email evaluation. And I can start to get to know the team in that way. So I focus on job descriptions if I'm doing the work. And then I also just focus on what the loyalty program experience looks like. Are they sending out surveys saying, hey, what should our loyalty program look like? It's being aware of what the brands are doing. But then I 100%, the only reason I'm doing outreach is if it's for a job description that I know is out there.
Yeah. Got it. Wow. I've never thought about that. I mean, that one tip in this totally free thing that 8 people are now watching.
Yeah. I love how the number goes up.
Yeah, we're getting better.
We're
getting better.
Scaling.
Yeah, yes. We are slowly scaling. Yes, I think that is such a good point, because you can get those anywhere for free. Anywhere. Like Indeed, Monster, LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm. And then you start and you're recommended more of these jobs because they really think you want a loyalty marketing manager job. It's self-fulfilling then.
Yeah.
It's self-fulfilling, but it also gives you what are the metrics for success. So it lets you know how are they going to be successful if they take on this job.
Sure.
It's a good one.
That is killer. Okay. In the next episode with the Sales Samurai, we're going to be discussing how do you stay and keep your integrity throughout the sales process.
Love it.
All right. I'll see you guys all in episode 5.